Hey guys, Marsingin here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at EZA TEQ BEERUS with his Super EZA on the Lord Slug team. This is another team where he gets a 200% lead. You do have to build the team a little bit differently, I think, to include him on the team, because obviously, bear in mind, we want to get Slug's intro buff and domain to help out the demonic power allies on the team. Which means we have to run a certain number of demonic power allies. And one of the things we've done recently, of course, I did the video using Slug's team with all the new heroes demonic power characters on there. However, one thing that is a bit of a clash is we tried out the EZA TEQ BEERUS, and he can be quite good as a slot 1 tank on this team, but he requires a full extreme rotation in order for him to get that extra damage reduction in slot 1, and Beerus is a super class unit. So that does change the dynamic of the team a little bit. I threw in Kid Buu as another support. The interesting thing is that with Bojack, obviously with his EZA, well, I think even before his EZA, but he supports Space Traveling Warriors allies, which Beerus is. And of course in this fight, which is unusual that we actually ever get this, but we do have multiple enemies, which means we're getting extra support as well. So I think we'll probably just keep the rotation like this, because obviously Beerus wants a movie boss Realm of Gods or Exploding Rage ally on the rotation with him. And Kid Buu isn't on Exploding Rage, you see. I don't know if any of the Boos are. So we'll keep Beerus, we'll keep Bojack here. Interesting to see how good Beerus is going to be in slot 1 on this rotation, because he has a lot of damage reduction when you have 4 HP. He's got 329k. I've seen some interesting screenshots of him living like some of the really big boss super attacks. And of course, Videl always super attacks in slot 1. Wow, yes, he just takes double-digit damage. And then does a 14 million attack stat here. Bear in mind, he's only got Fierce Battle active and then got the support from Bojack. So that's pretty good. Yeah, this team's definitely very, very fun. I think I mentioned it in like the Heroes team build version of this like Slug team, but Slug definitely released at like a really awkward time, I think, for a lot of players potentially, because with him releasing just before Heroes, which I know like on the grand scheme of things, Heroes not necessarily the best, most value thing to summon for, but a lot of people were excited for it. Then obviously we have the potential of like this crossover Dokkan Fest coming up soon. We got the New Year's dual Dokkan Fest, and then obviously anniversary at the end of February. So much stuff to think about coming out soon. Makes it really difficult to like justify using stones on these like filler Dokkan Fests that pop up. But man, Lord Slug is not only really good as a unit, but his team is really, really good as well. So definitely an awkward situation, because you basically just have to decide like whether to summon for him or not, and save those stones for all the stuff that is upcoming. Should I try and take it? I was trying to do as much damage to Goten as possible, because he can be annoying with his damage, but it probably does also make sense to a certain extent to try and get rid of Videl. But we can attack lower Goten here with Mechikabra. When I'm doing these like team showcases on these certain stages as well, the point is not to get like, you know, to do the optimal run where it's like this is exactly what you should do on each turn. It's more so to show off the team, because someone mentioned in a comment in a previous video, it's like, why are you attacking into like type disadvantage? And obviously for a showcase, like, I mean, this event is quite long because these guys are surprisingly tanky in the first phase, but we want to get as many turns in as we can, right, so we can see what the units are doing. Slug, with only big bad bosses active here, still relatively decent tanking in slot 1 for him, considering no attacks yet, no build up. He of course gonna have his scouter effect fully unlocked and ready now as well, thanks to taking all of those hits in slot 1. It's a shame we got both the Slugs on the first turn, but by the time we float this guy off, we might, I don't know if it'll match up so that we get the, I think we should still get the domain end and the next one start at like the same time. So, alright, we stunned Videl. That's actually quite useful for the next turn. And then Beerus, we get a heal at the end of the turn thanks to Slug. I still have not, because we only did the initial showcase, I still haven't had Well, they share shocking speed, don't they? Yeah, that's okay. We'll do that as a rotation then for now. I still haven't had Beerus's Rage Mode activate yet. Obviously, we did the showcase for him when he initially got the EZA. Let's do that. So let's get rid of Goten here, hopefully. But yeah, Beerus's Rage Mode, obviously something that can come in very, very handy. Just loads of free damage, cancel out things like supers and AoEs and stuff like that. So certainly will be good. And on this team, I mean, I'm not sure how quickly the turn will load in, because if you have Slug Scouter unlocked, when you go into the next rotation, it will load in the rotation, and you should get a chance to see where the super attack is. Then his Rage Mode will trigger, and obviously, because in his Rage Mode you don't have a Scouter anymore, the icon goes away. But you should be able to see whether there is a super or not on that turn, which then means you know that at the end of his Rage Mode that you have essentially negated that super. But I mean, yeah, Beerus tanks incredibly well, has the guard with the movie boss or exploding rage. I think Janemba is an exploding rage character, so there's quite a few units on Slug's team that you would just want to run on this team in general anyway, that are really good for being run with Beerus. Good lord, everyone is supering on this turn. That's crazy. Alright, well, you're going to be okay in slot 1 here with the defense and the damage reduction. Who's supering first? Goten. Yeah, so we should try and get rid of Goten. I'm not sure. Kid Boo's been hit already, right? So he should be able to tank the super from Trunks at the end. If I do this, it should hopefully... Will it connect those other blues? Do that. Okay, we can get 7. And that will go on to Trunks. And then I guess we'll just do this. But yeah, it's interesting. I still think we talked about this in the initial showcase, I think, but it's still kind of weird that Battle of Gods Beeruses are super class characters. It'll definitely be more beneficial for this team for him to be extreme. But it is fun that he supports both super and extreme with his the support part of his passive. So obviously he can be used on a team where you're using a mix of those characters. I think it'd be quite interesting to try him out on like a Realm of Gods team, but his biggest issue, which I talked about in the initial showcase, really is like his lack of meta relevant link partners. We really need to get like a new Whis. Like Whis is, in terms of like character choices for like a filler Dokkan Fest, I think Whis is one that could be, people would accept, right, as being a reasonable choice for a Dokkan Fest. Just make him like a supercharged version of some of these other versions, like the STR banner unit, where he just has a bunch of dodge, can build up dodge by, or build up defense or more dodge by dodging, provide a bunch of support. Just make him that kind of support for like a big Realm of Gods team. And then, yeah, a rotation with Beerus in slot 1 and him in slot 2 would just go absolutely crazy. Because, yeah, now he's built up to... He's at 700k defense start of turn. And bear in mind that when we're on full HP, not only do we have the guard from having the right ally on the turn, but on full HP we have 60% damage reduction. So 700k defense, 60% damage reduction, and guard. It's pretty good. So Janemba should be able to take out Videl here, and then Beerus will take out Trunks. And we'll do that. I guess we'll have to float the other Slug. I mean, it doesn't really matter if we end up with a double Slug rotation, because that's the thing. Once he is built up, like, Slug can be decently good in slot 1. So I just want to get to a turn where we actually take some damage and we can see Beerus's Rage Mode. It's like the team is too good. Certain units on the team will take damage from a super. Meki Cabra could take some big damage if we don't pick up enough Rainbow Orbs for him. But with Rainbow Orbs, I've seen him tank some pretty big hits. I say tank, but like survive some pretty big hits that I was kind of surprised that he actually managed to live. So he can be decent. It's a bit of a shame on this team. Like, he's probably more effective as like a floating unit because he only shares big bad bosses with Lord Slug, whereas obviously this rotation is really good for Lord Slug. He does share Revival with Bojack, which is an extra little bit of attack and defense and key, so that's not bad. So I think realistically I'll just do... Let's turn the animations off here. Transform you. Of course, we do have to worry about picking up a certain number of orbs. That's the other problem, I guess, with some of these combos of units is characters that require certain orbs or certain number of orbs and then ending up on the same rotation, right? Because you want to get the orbs for Bojack so he can get his extra buffs. And then, apparently I misclicked and didn't get enough key for Slug, but he gets an additional anyway, 15.3. Is this my one or the friend one? I have a feeling this is my one, because it would be higher otherwise. Yeah, my Slug is 55%, so it's pretty good. And then, yeah, Bojack at 19. But yeah, Bojack and Mechikabra being on the same turn is not necessarily ideal, especially because Bojack creates STR orbs, and then Mechikabra changes any orbs that aren't AGL, one of those typings at random, to Rainbow, so he obviously could change the STR orbs. Fortunately, Bojack doesn't need STR specifically, but you want to get 6 for him, and then you want to get as many as possible for Mechikabra as well. Although they are the only 2 units on this build that are requiring like a certain number of orbs, so should be fine. Maybe Super Mechikabra here, maybe? Do some damage? No. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, it's funny because it's the whole, like... Yeah, it's like the suffering from success meme. We're just getting, like... Can't get the rage mode for Beerus because we're just not taking enough damage. 800k defense on this turn because of the support from Kid Buu. So I'm going to put him in slot 1 just in case Janemba goes ham and kills Gohan here. Double digit damage and then a dodge. And then we drop a 17 mil. My only criticism, which is not even really like... It's not really a criticism because he's good enough as it is. But my only criticism is that he doesn't have any built-in additional. Because that 17 million attack stat is nice. And then that's the one attack that he does. But can't really complain when he's providing a little bit of support and is as strong as he is defensively. And then obviously a 17 million attack stat. If it was only like one attack stat of like 10 mil, then maybe that would be something we'd complain about a little bit more. But yeah, definitely. I think because does he change one of his links when he tries? No, it's not that he changes links. It's that he doesn't have support anymore. That's why we didn't get the super for Slug on the previous turn. Because yeah, annoyingly, let's do. The only downside to this Slug Bojack rotation. But yeah, there's 6 for you. And then can we get... Yes, look at that. Physical orb. Coming in clutch at the top there. So we can get the 6 orbs for everyone. Bit of an awkward turn. But yeah, I guess that's because we're running it as like a showcase, right? So I wouldn't have like one of the slugs floating. Realistically, I could have kept one of the slugs on rotation with Beerus the whole time, I suppose. But... having that extra link with Janemba a solid slot 1 unit, but probably not the best way to do it. I mean, the thing is, like, depending on how you want to build your Slug team and who you want to have on the rotations with Slug, Beerus would fit really, really well into this team as just a floating 3rd slot unit, because it's not like he needs to do tons of build-up. And then he's always going to have a movie boss ally because you've got a Slug on both rotations. So even if you want to run a bunch of the heroes, demonic power characters and stuff like that, Beerus is always then going to have his guard. And so in slot 3, he's only ever going to be getting hit once he's already attacked. He's got his full passive up. He's guarding. Like, he'd fit really well on the team because he's also providing that little bit of support. So it's not like you're... Because I'm one of those people, I still like the sort of blueprint of building my teams where I have my 2 main rotations and then I try and have, like, support units floating to, like, juice up the main rotations. But Beerus does provide a little bit of support, so he can work well in that scenario as well. And then, yeah, look at that. Bojack just double-digit tanking the super here. But that does mean we're going to get into another situation where we're probably not going to end up seeing the Beerus Rage mode. It's funny because we were talking about his hidden potential in the initial video. And he gets a decent amount of crit in his passive. So I changed the build for mine and gave him a bit more dodge and then additional. Because it'd be good for him to do an additional attack. Like we said, he doesn't have one built into his kit. And then... obviously, he is a defensive unit because he's very, very tanky. So it's not like he needs to have dodge. But as a defensive unit, it was like, well, I'll give him some dodge instead of the crit. And I did have some people say, oh, well, you know, I gave mine crit still because he doesn't crit in his rage mode. And of course, the funny thing now is for me is like, well, me, if I put crit in his build because it helps his rage mode, so far we've used him for 2 like showcase videos and I haven't gotten his rage mode yet. So I know it's very much like RNG. We're not doing like the toughest bosses, so it's going to be, it'll be very easy to go into something like Janemba, right? And then 9 times out of 10, well, I say 9 times out of 10, very often, if you survive the first turn, you have taken a lot of damage, right? And then you'll just get Beerus's rage mode, which will be helpful. He could do some free damage, cancel out a potential super. Maybe we'll do that as like the next video for Beerus, is take him into Janemba. Because then we can, I would say we could pretty much guarantee that we'll see his rage mode in that stage, right? Because we're either going to be taking lots and lots of damage, or the only times I feel like you're taking basically no damage against Janemba is if you're getting clutch like dodge turns with characters who are based around dodge for like their defensive mechanics. But yeah, Beerus very, very good on this team. Like I say, in a showcase scenario, we're keeping him on rotation. It's not necessarily super beneficial for some of the units on the team. Like obviously if you're running him on a rotation with Janemba, Janemba's not getting big bad bosses. One of the Slugs is floating, but Slug doesn't really provide much to the team if he's floating because he's not a support. He's still good, does some decent damage, will be tanking well, because obviously post-super, he tanks really, really well. But yeah, Beerus would be very, very good on the team as a floating support. So yeah, I think he's definitely a good addition. And then yeah, he gets the 200% from Slug. So, because his main meta-relevant 200% leaders are the 2 Brolys from the Worldwide Celebration and then Slug. And unfortunately for me, I don't have Int Broly, because his team build obviously is very good and very fun. But let's see how well he tanks the super in slot 1 here. Go ahead and do this. We'll keep the Slug on rotation just to see how this would look. So we've obviously got our full defensive capability here. There's the dodge. And then how much is this going to do? Obviously not like the hardest hitting boss in the game or anything, but this Gohan can still hit particularly hard, or kind of hard. So how much is Beerus going to take from this pre-super? Yeah, it still takes basically double-digit damage. That's crazy. So yeah, Beerus is insane. Like, he is definitely the best Super EZA. He might even just unironically be like the best TUR, which some of the previous Super EZAs, like whilst they have been very good, I don't know if they were necessarily like the best TUR hands down. Maybe. I guess it depends, because we normally rank and tier like EZA units separately because they've, you know, gotten a new big buff. But I mean, yeah, Beerus is just absolutely insane. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Beerus, absolutely crazy. If you want to see him in the Janemba event, let me know down below. But yeah, very, very fun on the Slug team. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.